Okay, good day everyone. Maz is okay here. So I just want us to look at the fact that, as you all know, we read in the news in the last couple of days that the federal government is disarming basically those they've issued licenses to. Now the question is that the wisest thing to do at this moment? So, I mean, it's going to be an interactive session. We are creating our own media space. So just feel free to join me and make your, be part of the conversation. So towards the end, I would, call on everyone to, who has joined me. If you've got questions, then you can basically ask your question as well. Okay, so we're going to endeavor as much as possible to make that an interactive session. Okay, so guys, let's crack on. Okay, so like I said before, welcome to Nigerian Media channel, and we're going to be rolling. So, okay. Now, as some of you know, before we get into that, I mean, that's more political. Let me recap of the events of last week. I had, and I did go into the Enugu airport, which you guys have my reports there, that actually shows the status of the Enugu airport. I'm not jumping. So before we get into this disarming of a thing, so we get the gist straight. The reason why I'm actually doing the Enugu airport thing first is because there are a couple of questions that come up in the comment section. So I just need to clarify that. Now, for those of you that have asked, why can't the Southeastern governors do that? Or why can't the Southeast people do that? Well, they can't do it because these guys, I mean, there is what we call the exclusive list. These are items in the exclusive list that is exclusively for the federal government, where the federal government control. Now, and because airport is one of those items in the exclusive list, there is nothing anyone can do. However, we have in the exclusive list as well the trunk A roads and some bridges, but there has been cases where state government have gone ahead and do that and do those items and bill the federal government later. A clear example is former governor of Anambra State, Dr. Chris Ngige. During his time as a governor of Anambra State, he had to do federal roads, even without approval, okay? So now when people argue, oh, you can't do it, they can't do it. No, you can do it. But if you are honest enough to ensure that the process of bidding and there was no contract inflation, you could eventually get your money back. In the case of Ngige and the federal roads, Ngige, or rather Anambra State, got those monies back, but Ngige was no longer the governor then. The Supreme Court removed him and Peter Obi came in. So by the time Anambra got those monies back, now we already have a new governor. The same thing, I think, would apply at the MNN International Airport here, because if people could, if the Enugu State government, or if we can come together and do the airport and ensure that due process is followed and everything is done right, and the federal government is going to reimburse that money to the state government again. So that is on that one. Okay, so I have people joining in. So hello everyone. If you're joining us today for the first time, that's a very good thing. Now, let's get back to the issue of discussion today, which is that the federal government is looking at withdrawing licenses from individuals. You see, Okay. I want you guys to, let us get this, sadly, YouTube cannot offer us a polling functionality that we can ask people what they think and they will give us feedback. But let us do that within the comment section. I want us, and all of you watching me now, if you can type, go to the comment section, the live chat section, and answer this question. The question is, you have a group of people killing your people, okay? Killing your citizens. Now, and these citizens are the ones you've sworn by oath, because actually the Nigerian presidency, the Nigerian constitution does not say that the president can build roads, build schools. No, it says the primary responsibility of the government is to protect lives and properties. Underline that, lives, that's your life, my life as a Nigerian. It is the primary responsibility of the government, of the Nigerian government, to protect our lives. Now, our properties, that's where we live. If you have a motorcycle, a keke, or whatever, it is the right of the government, because you pay tax and you're a citizen, to protect your life. Now, and that primary responsibility appears to be evading the government. And in this, if the government is not being able to protect you, the question now that I want us to start typing answers is, if you have a group of people invading your people, now you have people who are legitimately gun owners. They've come in, they say, okay, I've undergone psychiatric test, I am okay, I only need these guns. These guns are not automatic weapons. These guns some of them are chakabuns, as we call them, or den guns, or some of them are actually pump actions or double barrel guns. Now, these individuals have given their names, their addresses, where you can go anytime, any day and find them, their telephone numbers. That means you know them. There is another set of people that you don't know, but they walk the street, they go, they walk with their cows, and they do that with guns, AK-47, automatic weapons. Now, underline the two keywords here. One is a non-automatic weapon, which means you only have to shoot once. Either you rearrange or you change bullet, then you shoot again, as opposed to where you just do your hand like this, and it's just ta 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 ta. Those are automatic weapons. Okay, so rather than go straight and arrest those and disarm those that have no license, you don't know where they live, they're just, parading the bushes, you don't know anything about them. Rather than go take their guns away, you say, I want to go and take the guns away from those that I know where they live. Those that do not, use them for recreation activities. Some of them are, hunters. So who do you think, I'll give us 2 minutes to answer these questions. Who do you think the federal government should disarm? Should the federal government disarm you and I, individuals, citizens, tax-paying citizens, people the government know where they live, people the government know what they do, their occupations? Should the government disarm them? Or should the government disarm those that can invade your community, rape your moms, your sisters, your daughters, and kill whoever they see on the way while they are doing that? So who should the government first take those ammunition away from? Let me wait for a couple of seconds, or let's say maximum 1 minute. I hope we are, so let me see, please put your answers. If you can equally indicate where you're watching us from, that will be very great. Equally to know that you are watching us from somewhere, please. If you can do that, that will be much appreciated, please. So I'm waiting. So let's make this as interactive as we can, and let us know what you think. Who should the government disarm? Johnson Z is watching from Spain. Johnson, to my question, I want us to say who we want the federal government to disarm. Okay, so we have 1 more minute before we continue. We have one more minute before we continue. As we did last week, we actually said we're going to make this a weekly event. Okay, weekly event in the sense that we would be having every week. We will come in and have these conversations and see, you know, whatever is trending for the week. We should have time to look at them and review them. So I can see, okay, people are now joining us. I have Enuma is watching from Germany, and Mo Banco is watching from UK. So if you guys can hear me, it's good to know where you're watching from, but we have a question on the table that I would want us to give answers to. Okay, so 1 more minute, as interactive as possible, then we crack on. Okay. Yep, we're waiting. Okay. So now I know some of you will be typing now. It's fine. So I'll be reading them out as we go. Dorothy Ifani Makasi is watching from Italy. Okay, so it appears everyone here is watching from Europe. Wow. So the people following Injanja Media channel are all from Europe. I'd expected a lot of people to be from Nigeria and to watch from, cities and states within Nigeria. But it appears many of you guys are watching from Europe. Okay, to continue. Now, how do we feel what is happening? I have these reports here. If I'm looking at elombah.com. Now, it says unofficial sources have disclosed that President Muhammad Buhari on Wednesday, this Wednesday, 3 days ago, signed a law, that's an executive order, to revoke all firearms or shotguns certificates or licenses in Nigeria with these executive powers. According to the source, the law will take effect from 1st of June 2019. The law will, when it takes effect, will ensure that nobody in the country is allowed to own or carry a firearm. This is unbelievable. Nobody, okay, a clarification here. I do not own a gun. I live here in Nigeria, but I do not own a gun. But even at that, okay, and the reports went further to say the special aide to Mr. President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, is yet to confirm the development. Okay, so basically that's where we are. And people, why we want to make that as a topic today is that people are already panicking. People in Nigeria are already panicking. Some people actually are already arguing, saying, if you revoke this, that means you want the killer headsmen to continue. And have you guys actually noticed what's happening in Nigeria now? That the federal government actually is slightly manipulating the media. The media, you no longer read terrorists. The media is gradually moving away from calling the Fulani headsmen, the killer headsmen. Not all, please, for clarification, not all headsmen are Fulanis, and not all Fulanis are headsmen. However, there is this killer headsmen, okay, all over the West African or the Sahel region or the Sub-Saharan African region. And because this is happening, there is, or rather, it appears there is an orchestrated plan to move the name from headsmen or killer headsmen or terrorists to what we currently read. In the last couple of months, you only read bandits. Okay, bandits. Remember, our own president in an international scene said that, wow, this is not herdsmen or killer herdsmen attacks. These are conflicts between the farmers and the herders. Please, people, how do you have a conflict? You are a farmer. Your assets are fixed. You are in one place, right? You are a farmer. Someone comes in your farm, eats your crops with the animals. You say, hey, what are you doing? Boom. How is that a conflict? You are the farmer. You haven't gone out to his ranch to steal his cow, but he's come into your farm to take the crops that you've planted, and you shout, you get shot. Now, the report says you, the farmer, clashed with the herdsman. That is absurdity. That is insanity. That is unbelievable. How can that happen? How does something like that happen? You are nothing but a criminal who's used his cow to go into someone else's farm to destroy. Okay? And you've come to destroy, then there is a conflict. So how does that turn into a farmer-herder conflict? So on that note, we blame the federal government. And when people say there is an orchestrated Fulanization and Islamization, even when some people don't want to believe that, but when you hear when you hear stuff like this, that people arms, ammunitions are going to be withdrawn, those that legally have gone to acquire them and have registered them as well. If that happens, you begin to put one on one. You can actually start saying, hold on, why is it that this is happening? Why are we, allowing this to happen? Oh, Isani Oyetunji. Oh, hello, you're watching from Nigeria, and I have John Okoye watching from Las Vegas. I just give you guys a shout out. He says, the other one says, we are waiting others to join us from Biafra land. That's good. Obi Jack from Sweden. And it says that's not possible. Boko Haram and Fulanis. We have to protect ourselves. That's Enuma. And Darati says they're supposed to disarm Boko Haram members. Exactly. I tend to agree with that. I think the Boko Haram members, the Fulani headsmen, the bandits, however you want to call them, are the ones to be disarmed. Because you see, these things are, I don't want to be an alarmist, but there is something happening in Nigeria that is worrying. The situation is getting there. The situation is really getting serious. That people are now being kidnapped with reckless abandon. This morning, we woke up to read about a pastor, I think towards between between Ore and Bini, was, shot at last night or yesterday evening. Luckily, he escaped with machete bruises. Quite unfortunately, YouTube does not allow for one to just upload pictures unless I have to try a different app. But what that happened, what that says is that these things keep happening. I have been a victim as well. Okay, one of my elder brothers on Bini bypass got kidnapped by the Fulani. Fulani, I call them terrorists, because when you become a victim, you understand that more. Okay, so pick up the phone, speak to them. They say, they tell you, Kai Ogamenini, they understand it, everything. They begin to tell you, oh, night, Kai Oga, I will pay $5 million. And I was like, what am I paying you guys $5 million for? My brother was coming down to the southeast, and unfortunately, after Bini and the Bini bypass, they were double crossed. People shot at, honestly, shot at. One woman had a bullet in her butts, and people just going home. And what happened? Just for no just cause, for no just reason, you just kind of keep terrorizing people. Okay, and the same thing is happening everywhere. It happens in the southwest. The only place that appears to be safe from the Fulani herdsmen at the moment is the southeast and the south-south. But hey, guys, do not rejoice, because by the time they finish with Benue, by the time they finish with Zamfara, the northeast and the northwest, they are gradually coming into the southwest, and they would invade the southeast and probably the south-south as well, because there are a couple of factors actually contributing to this. You have the desertification, that's the desert encroachment. The cows no longer have enough feed up north. Now, rather than actually address this holistically and address this intelligently, which I was expecting the government to be doing, which is the government ought to, encourage those farmers to go into ranching. Because actually, if you want to go into ranching, ranching is a private business. So if you want to acquire land, buy land. If you want to go to the southwest and buy acres of land, it's your prerogative. This is your business. But we shouldn't be thinking of taking people's land and give them to people who do that business. Because if we want to drive the argument further, we could actually argue that if you give someone lands to do ranching or cattle grazing, again, someone engages in car importations and he needs expanse of land to showcase his car, you should give that person equally land free of charge. If someone deals on motor spare parts, you equally give that person expanse of land. But why is it that someone who does a startup, maybe an IT company, a auto spare parts, car dealer, he pays tax, or rather taxes. He gets no incentive. But someone who destroys communities with his animals gets crazy incentives. And the latest of those incentives is the Minister of Education announced this week that there will be a Fulani radio station. How does that work? A Fulani radio station. Are you rewarding the Fulanis for killing you? Are you rewarding the herdsmen for killing you? So how do we have a radio station for the Fulanis? Does that make sense? And when people say Fulanization is happening, and some think is not, I am not going to tell you if it's happening or not, but we are wiser. We should be wise to know what is happening. The Nigerian state is unsafe, and the federal government sadly appears not to do anything. One of the things I dislike about the current president is the lack of emotional intelligence. Okay, I mean, he lacks empathy. People get killed, people get maimed. The president basically is everything everything is as normal as possible. No one actually, or rather, he doesn't actually show enough empathy to show, oh, these are my people. However, if France loses 10 people, he will be among the world leaders, the first to issue condolence messages. But your people get killed, nothing happens. And that's why, over time, we argue with people, especially our brothers from the north, to the point now that when things happen in Zamfara, we lose lives. And this hurts because we're all human and we all have blood running in our vein. But sometimes, rather than to show empathy, all you read online is people saying, well, the chicken has come home to roast, that, well, welcome to your next level. Entirely from the human element and human angle, it hurts rather than to cry with those that cry. People appear to basically, appear to laugh at them. If you remember, after the election, rather than actually get to um, have empathy on the beggars, people started making short clip videos. If someone comes to you, say, Barbiela, Barbiela, give me money, and we had videos on Facebook, on Instagram saying, well, I didn't vote this government, so because I didn't vote, go and ask money for them. I mean, it is, Nigerians are not bad people. Okay, Nigerians are not bad people. All of us, even some of you that say you are not, you are not Nigerian. But for now, you are forced to be a Nigerian, even if you say you're from Biafra or from the Oduduwa or from the Ariwa, whatever you are. But for now, as long as you use the Nigerian passport, as long as you are still holding the Nigerian passport, you are forced to be within the Nigerian or the space called Nigeria. Therefore, you are a Nigerian, even if you like it or not. And they are not bad people, but sometimes the way the government has treated people or treated them makes them appear to be a kind of a bad people. And that is not right, because we are humanists. We are a people that like to help. Look at that woman deported from Germany. Suddenly, she comes into Nigeria. And look at how Nigeria, nobody asks, oh, is she Igbo? Is she Bini? Is she middle belt or anything? Everyone started helping. But the government is actually the one, creating this enmity between the regions or between the tribes. So let me go to the comment section and see what we are saying. Okay. So Obi Jack from Sweden, and we have John Okoye. At a point, people will respond to this aggression coming from herdsmen who are supported by the present government. Well, again, that's the point I've made, John Okoye. I mean, you guys can keep dropping your comments. I can mention your name and read your comment. If you have anything, to drop, just drop your comment, and we'll read them out, and we'll see. So I think the herdsmen or the killer herdsmen are pushing Nigerians, and the government, sincerely, I believe, does not help matters. The government appears to somehow subtly supporting the madness by not coming out to castigate and say this is wrong. For example, you saw the ferocity, the power with which the government dealt with the IPOP guys. What was the sense of the IPOP? They had a radio station, they marched the street, and they hurt no one. But you saw federal government sent python dancers to the southeast. Thousands, if not, okay, maybe hundreds of youths, innocent Nigerians, were killed. They met their early death. And, the group got proscribed. Now, just oppose that to what is happening now. A group killing Nigerians that we could easily designate as a terrorist group. Internationally, the herdsmen are the fourth most deadliest terrorist group in the world. The world knows these guys are terrorists. How come it is only in Nigeria that we do not know that these guys are terrorists? How? How does that happen? Are we telling ourselves the truth? You and I, all of you now watching, you know it. These guys are terrorists. They carry guns. They do not have license for. And they use them with reckless abandon. Yet, call them by their real name. We can't. We'll call them bandits. Bandits. bandits that they can invade your house, bandits that they come and kill 50, 30, as the case may be. It is a combination of various factors that sometimes get Nigerians worked up. Nigerians, and this message is for the federal government. The federal government is stretching the patience of the people. I pray war is not good. Please, the federal government, I beg you, must step in, because we've lost over 3 million lives between 1966 and 1970, 3 years plus, 3 point something million, average over 1 million a year. There are countries on this earth that doesn't have over up to 3 million people, but that's what we lost, and we learned nothing. We learned nothing. Now Nigeria is gradually sliding into that slope. It is time to rescue the situation. If the Nigerian state can no longer hold, if we cannot come together to define how we want to live as a people, it's probably time for us to say to your tent, O Israel, we come together and negotiate how to be on our own. If our togetherness as the largest Black nation on earth offers no solace, offers offers nothing tangible to us, you question yourself, why am I a Nigerian? Why are you a Nigerian? Why? You're a Nigerian, you have no benefit of being a Nigerian. If you're a Nigerian, you get hurt, nobody cares. If you're a Nigerian, your village gets overrun by killers. The government appears incapable. If you're a Nigerian, is it a crime to be a Nigerian, for Christ's sake, for crying out loud? Is it a crime to be a Nigerian? Where on earth do you go officially apply for licenses to hunt, to protect your farm, to protect your life, to protect your properties, and someone suddenly says via executive order that your licenses will be withdrawn? Where does that happen? And you leave those that acquired their ammunitions illegally. You leave those that basically done nothing in any legal way. You leave them alone, and you want to go after those that have done everything, and you know their addresses. Okay, so let's go back to the comment section once more and see what people are saying. Johnson said, of course, it is happening already. Hypocrisy, hypocrite president. Greeting to you, my honorable Chinedu Chinedu. Chinedu, I say hi to you. Watching from Italy, happy Sunday to you. Yes, Chinedu, happy Sunday to you as well. Johnson says they are the one behind it. Well, I don't know, but I think the federal government is not doing enough to distance themselves from that. Invariably, now make them look as if they are the one behind it or sponsoring it. Honestly, I do not know. I'm yet to wrap my head around it. A group of people killing your citizens, you're going to give them radio station to communicate to them about what? Tell them the farms to invade or what? How do we get to this point? How? How do we get to this point? Oh, we want to open up a radio station and speak to them in Fufude, which is the Fulani language. Yet, we have Radio Nigeria. Every Fulani almost speaks Hausa, even if it means create a particular radio program. Why are we so wasteful? Why? Why do we need to open up a radio station? We have FRCN. We have Federal Federal Radio. Creates a program within the federal radio station at a particular time. Communicate that to them. tell them between 8 and 9. Like we do today, we shadow these things. We shadow, last week we had a live video, today we shadow it. Shadow something like this with the herdsmen. Tell them on this date, this is your radio station. Speak to them in every damn freaking language you want to speak to them. We don't give a damn. Speak to them in Fufude, speak to them in Hausa, speak to them in, if there is anything like Mumuyi or whatever, speak to them, we don't care. Just beg them not to stop killing Nigerians. Speak to them if they don't stop, how you want to disarm them. But rather than to do the common, sometimes I think maybe our government is, the government is actually useless government, because why would every idea, you and I can see that this idea is conceived to steal, to loot the treasury, to take the money away from the system, but they appear not to see it. They appear not to see the same thing you and I can see. Why? Do we have cucumbers in government? Do we have those that do not care about you and I in government? What is it? What is it that you and I can see what they don't? It's heartbreaking. Really, it is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. At the end of the day, you have a radio station for a section of the people, yet the other section that have a radio station, you never one day, ask them, what is your grievance? Why are you guys marching the street of Aba? Why are you guys marching the street of Lagos? Why are you guys marching the street of Akwa Ibom or the street of River State or Warri or Edo? You don't ask them, or street of Ogun. Rather, what you do is you basically proscribe them, shut them up. Now, my fear is when these guys go under, we will have a handful coming for us. Allow them to be. Engage them, actually. That was what I was expecting. Why are you doing this? Engage them. The same way you are trying now to engage the herdsmen killing your citizens is the same way you should have. Engage them. Engage them to find out what are your grievances. Oh, they will tell you, oh, we don't have seaport, we don't have this, we don't have this. We feel, underline that word, we feel marginalized. Address their fears. That was the reason we had 2014 National Conference. Sadly, the PDP government, or rather Goodluck Jonathan, couldn't do nothing because of second tenure. Sometimes it hurts me so much to say that if we can, if the system can change that, this uselessness called second tenure makes people, to dance, act in a way that you say, are these people human? You convened a national conference, a national conference. You had a report. You were waiting to win before you can start the report. You could have started with the exclusive list and, move some of these items in the exclusive list into the concurrent list. At least do something. There are things within the 2014 National Conference that could have been accommodated. If all these things were done 5 years ago, we wouldn't be in this mess today. We wouldn't be in this mess. Yet, the same governors, the same people who messed up that last government will come and tell us, oh, the previous government didn't save. Nonsense, arrant nonsense. I listen to people like Rotimi Amechi, the Minister of Transport, and I say, my God, these guys must have their head checked. How can we argue in this way and form? Rotimi Amechi, it is on record, was part of a team within the governors forum that said, no, we wouldn't save. Okonji Iweala, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, and Goodluck Jonathan were all shouting, including Peter Obi, saying it is time to save. We are seeing this thing. If oil crashes now, we're going to be in serious mess. Rauf Aribosola, Adams Oshomole, Rotimi Amechi, with some couple of northern governors, said, no, we should not save. For the records, these guys went to court. to stop the federal government from saving. Now, a couple of months later, the administration finished and not much was saved. When the administration took, the current one came in, how are we surprised that we found ourselves in recession? Not only that we didn't save was the reason why we found ourselves in recession. The government that came in made some silly and stupid, idiotic decisions. For 6 months, there was no minister, not a single minister. You were running the country like a one-man squad. You think you're running a boutique. You need men, intelligent men and women to help you run a complex country like Nigeria. Remember, in the United Kingdom, when Theresa May couldn't get the first deal, that the Brexit deal, she came back. Some cabinet minister resigned. Only cabinet, I think about 2 cabinet ministers resigned. The pounds went downhill. So people don't understand that these things have effects. Nigeria, in as much as Nigeria is a freaking poor country, but things ought to have done different. And the government that promised you change came in and started saying that anyone talking about restructuring is basically just wasting his time. Eventually, the same government again had a restructuring report that had 10 solid items in it. Google it. APC restructuring document. It's there, chaired by Kaduna State Governor El-Rufai. And what happened? They have identified areas that they would want to restructure in Nigeria, which include inserting a clause of referendum in the constitution. And that referendum would have doused the agitation. If you feel that the South, that this thing is no longer working out, these are the conditions you meet. If you meet these conditions, the way UK met on certain conditions within the EU, and they called their people out for a vote to remain or to exit the EU. The same thing was done. Not many people know that APC actually did that. And now tell me where that report is. This is a next level. Next level, nobody is actually mentioning about that information, that document that was not implemented. And no one is talking about it today. Nigeria appears to be jinxed. We appear to reason from the behind, especially the government. They appear to reason from the behind. You can imagine, rather than disarm people killing your people, you want to disarm those that have told you that they have gone, those that have told you that they are going to be using their guns to hunt or to protect themselves. Once more, this is Mazes. Okay, let me go to the comment section, read some of our comments, then before we bring this evening discussion to a close. And I think we can make this more interactive as it comes. Okay, I want to see more Nigerians. This is not on. Oh, I have Bode Lawal. Well, that's good. A friend from the Southwest. He says Nigeria needs to protect or go to court. I am unsure. In an insecure country where you have limited police, here in the US, is 1 police for 4 citizens by ratio. The killing is alarming because of unruly herdsmen. Lawal, in Nigerian parlance, in pidgin English, we say you knock them for the head. You said the truth. In the US, in as much as equally, the gun law in the United States is equally crazy. I don't want a situation where people are allowed, individuals in Nigeria are allowed to own automatic weapons. The state must actually have the right of forceful coercion, the right to bear armed automatic weapons. Then the citizens, certain citizens, not everybody, after undergoing psychiatric tests, should be allowed to own shotguns. Okay, so in the US, it's an extreme case. However, I understand your point. Your point is to the police. Your point is that it's four citizens to one police. In Nigeria, let me not say anything. I don't know. Maybe it might be one police to 1,000 citizens, and even at that, those police, you don't see them. They go to the what is it called again? They go to the VIPs, to the bourgeoisies, those that steal from you. I have never seen a madness called a country in Nigeria. People, you pay them billions to do nothing, 37 million per person a month to be a senator. Some of them go there sleep, they don't make no law. 4 years later, but every one of them, they have their securities. I visited someone the other day, a private citizen with 12 mopo in his house. And I protested. He said, Mazi, you people, you do they talk. And because you never, get to, you don't know why we need to use this. I said, gosh, 12 police, only you. And in that argument, I had to walk out because that's not my lifestyle. That's not my lifestyle. I don't need police to walk around. I'm here. I walk around. I use Okada. I do everything on my own. I don't need state protection. But if there is any crime, that's where the police comes in. The police should be able to protect the Nigerian citizen. The police should be able to basically help protect lives and property. And it's the only reason why government exists. Nigerian government does not have any contract to you to do hospital, do road, or do anything. The only contract they have, and that is, if you've learned nothing tonight, let us learn this one thing. Let us get angry at the government because they have failed and they continue to fail in one single thing, one single assignment. By the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, one single assignment that by oath of their office, they ought to provide to you and I, one single thing. And that thing is the protection of life and property. The lives of Nigerians and their properties. One single thing. If they can't count to one, if they can't do the one single thing by law they are supposed to do, how are they going to do more? How? Let's go back to the comment section. Lawal, so please bring your thoughts, to the comment section. We will be rounding up very soon. And this guy is saying, Bode Lawal again, with almost 200 million citizens, Nigeria with less than 1 million police. Well, you do the maths. 200 divided by 1 million police. Are you kidding me? Nigeria doesn't even have 500,000 police. You're talking about 1 million. Put hands. Nigeria does not. That's why the jobs the police ought to do, they send in the military. Have you ever seen a crazy nation like that? In a country not at war. Imagine, most of you that live in the US, imagine you're driving, on the highway, suddenly get pulled over by the National Guards in a time of peace. There is nothing going on. You get pulled over. How does that happen? Many of us have lived in Europe before we came back here to this country. We've never seen the military on the road. For where? How would you see them? The only time you see them, like when we were in the UK, is if you go in towards Farnborough or other shores. You might see them when they are moving away from the barrack, going to maybe a training ground or whatever. You cannot even see them, or you see a single soldier or two on a train, but not a battalion of them stationed on the road. It shows you that the system is broken. Something is wrong. You have a civil unrest where you should use the police to go and control the situation, like the case when Nnamdi Kanu's house was invaded. The military had no business in Afaruku. I said it before, I'll repeat it, and I'm saying it again. The military had no business in Abia State. Python dance, go to the bush and dance. If you want to Python dance, go to Zambeza forest and dance. Not to invade the civilian space. Some of us went to court. I did. But they trust Nigerian judiciary. Before my case could be heard, the deed has already been done. Innocent lives lost, properties lost, because we have what appears to be a very vindictive government. Any serious government wouldn't have done that. You engage. You moved down to the time of Yaradua. Nigerian had what it take to take away the Niger Delta militants. But what did he do? A man of peace, may his soul rest in peace. What did he do? You see how ironic that is? President Buhari is from Katsina, Yaradua from Katsina, two individuals. But look at their approach to life, two Fulanis. When people say we don't need to hate the Fulanis. Some of them are victims. Some of them are actually suffering the way you and I suffer. Even more, because today you can, if you are in the southeast, south, maybe southwest, you can go back to sleep. You can go to sleep and sleep with your two eyes closed, but they can't. The guys in Zamfara, the guys in Yobe, some of the northeast and the northwest states cannot sleep with their eyes closed. So they're actually victims, even more so than you and I. Because when the herdsmen or when the invaders come, it's their kids they take. It's their wives and their women they rape. Honestly, sometimes, it breaks one's heart to see these things continuously happening without any atom of solution in sight. So, about to wrap up. Bode Lawal is on fire. He says it will be foolishness to allow Nigerians to disarm. Bode Lawal, before I call you Bode George, I agree with you 1,000,000%. If that news is true, it will be very, very illogical and very stupid for the government to do that. So Dorothy Ifeanyi Makasi, they want to rob us with pen. And pen robbery is all they know how to do. Bode Lawal again, I see a looming and unresolved civil war knocking at the door of Nigeria. Whew, I don't like that sound of it. We must do everything possible to avoid war. War is not good. As Fela once said, before he got born again, when he finished from London, he sang a song, Viva, just Google it, Fela, Viva Nigeria or Viva Africa. He said, war is not the answer, and war has never been the answer. Peace is the solution, because any war must eventually end with a dialogue. That's why they say, that the rebels, they've come for a roundtable discussion. Why did the roundtable discussion fail in the first instance? So in this case, and that's why I insisted, and I maintain, the federal government must speak to every single group agitating in Nigeria and find out their grievance. Find out their grievance. If you do, the solution will be there. So, John Lawal, please, let's not push this. We must do everything to avoid war, please. I pray it won't get there. Yes, please, I agree with your last statement. John Okoye, to answer your question, we got to the point because the government has been hijacked by charlatans. Bless you for this, John Okoye. The government is run by charlatans. Charles Dikemazi, good to see you live. You need to be doing this regularly vis-a-vis the current situation in Nigeria. It is really heartbreaking. Charles Dike, yes. We started this last week. Our first video last week was on the Enugu airport and the impending downgrade. If you eventually come back to this video at the beginning, I made some clarifications to that as well. So we have to make this, as if time permits, every Sunday between 7:30 to 8:30 to 8 o'clock Nigerian time, and if time and space permits, but equally if generator permits, because sometimes generator noise knocks my head. Okay, so John, again, Nigeria has to be restructured or it will collapse like the USSR. You see, the only thing that we have to do, the only sensible thing Nigerian has now, option Nigerian has, is to restructure this nation. We have to. If we cannot restructure, Yugoslavia, or rather the former USSR, that's Russia, becomes plausible. We have to. We have to talk to ourselves. There is so much tension. People are taking a lot in, a lot of pain. People go to bed with a lot of pain, a lot with heavy hearts. So things got to change. We cannot continue this way. I read an article before I came online. The article says the last Nigerian president. No, who is going to be the last Nigerian president? That's scary. Scary. Okay. So Okoro Jr. says actual count is 40,000 with many guarding politicians. I agree with you. So 40,000 is more like it. The Nigerian police is not up to 1 million. Oh, come on. If we're up to 1 million now, that means we are doing well. But I can bet you that within the 400,000, within the 400,000 police that Nigerian has, I can bet you that close to half guards individuals and guards the VIP, the politicians. Remember, even criminals have police guarding them. Evans, the kidnapper, had police, soldiers, mopo guarding him. Go figure. So, free Occupy Biafra. Not one herdsman has been arrested for the murderous activities. I agree with you. Again, someone told me before, oh, it is wrong to say that no herdsman has been arrested. I said, well, if they arrest them and we don't see them, it is not reported, and we do not see the punishment meted to them. So how can we know that they've been arrested? If you arrest herdsmen or killer herdsmen or terrorists or bandits, as you may want to call them, there should be public display of the punishment meted in order to serve as a deterrent to others. But as long as we do not have any form of deterrent, as it appears, what we do have very easily is you see people get arrested, and the next thing is we negotiate, we'll release their bomb makers, we'll release their, come on now, Haba, huh? Nigeria should be smarter than this now. So, Michael Chinedu, hello house, hello Zoke. You're welcome, my brother. Michael Chinedu, I came late. I got disconnected. I know you sound to be connecting from Nigeria. And Ejimo Uche, Nigeria have about 350,000 active policemen. Yes, I agree with you. So the figure, I don't know the actual figure because it's one of those things that they keep secret, but I know I've listened to one guy on Channels TV, a police officer. I think he was saying something between 350 to 400. I think it's about 375. I'm not too sure, but it ranged between 300 and something to 400. We do not have more than 400 police men. Now, this message is flagged, is from Free Biafra. It says, Fulani are not the problem. The problem is that when you have a bigot and openly demonstrate bigotry, then other Nigerians naturally become resentful to Fulani. Jeez, I like this. I like this. This is You just said it the way it is. It's pure bigotry. You have a president. We have a president that never cares to address us. When was the last time the president addressed Nigerians, had a conversation? One thing he ought to be doing as frequent as possible. But he never does that. You see him probably speak. The other times Amphara was attacked, no, Katsina was attacked, he summoned, immediately he came back. He summoned the security chiefs. Now you ask yourself why? Is it because that he's the state? So all actions that he does shows, leans towards something that makes other Nigerians uncomfortable, honestly. Free occupied Biafra, the problem with war is that it cannot be prevented by one side, as people always imagine. If one side is intent on it because they think they will win, you cannot avoid it. Not entirely, my brother. Free occupied Biafra. I do not think, it takes two to tango. Okay. However, what I do not know is for how long the patience of Nigerians can be pushed. I don't know for how long that can happen because Nigerians are feeling the pains today. Today, in Jos, there is another commotion. You have Jos, now you have Zamfara, you have Kaduna. That's to the point that between people want to go from Abuja to Kaduna, they had to go by train. A VIP enters the train, helicopter has to follow them. We no longer have a country. The country is descending rapidly into maybe a failed state. We have all the indices indicating that Nigeria is turning into a failed state. Okay, so Lawal once more, they are punishing the young youths. They are pushing the young youth to the war. I am in my 40s, but this young generation may not be like us, born in the 70s. Again, I agree. Why do I have to agree with most of your conversations? Most of what you guys are saying. I mean, these things are common sense. Please write more. Free occupied Biafra. When even Obasanjo is worried about Nigeria, it is clear we are where we are going. Yugoslavia USSR integration will be smoother than Nigeria. Oh dear. Oh dear. Paul Pius Okolo Belu, please let no one give up his or her arm. Reason they want to attack the entire country. This executive order be ignored. Duncan Mighty, I hope it's not the Port Harcourt first son. He says, hope one day Biafra will be free. God bless NK. And I think this guy is from Russia. He says, hi, I am from Russia, and I recently started watching your house. What is your time right now? Okay, I think he meant he started watching my channel on my shows. So please, guys, subscribe to the channel, and we will be bringing you this more often. So to the Russian guy, the time now in Nigeria is 20:47. That's 13 minutes to 9 o'clock at night. Okay. So let us pray for Nigeria. The signs are truly grooming. That's free occupied Nigeria. And again, we are Biafrans. Somos Biafra. Thank you, bros. Oh, hey, Biafra. That's what he says. Now, Ludo Liu. Hi, everyone. Cheers from French guy lost in Nigeria with his drone. Oh, no. I think that is a spam. We need to ban him because he doesn't need to come and spam us here, please. Okay, we'll have to ban him for a while because I think he's spamming the conversation. He says, I'm not a spam. Lulu, what are you saying? Your comments, can you explain yourself, please? Okay. So next time I might have to need volunteers that whilst this is going on, we can add people as moderators. They can moderate the forum. Okay. So Lulu said, "I'm not. Can Nigerians sue the government for bad governance?" Honestly, it's one of those things that I would want a couple of people. I will join financially and otherwise. I want to test it in court. Sue the freaking federal government for misgovernance because they haven't provided what the constitution promised us to do. So, guys, if you guys want to do that, I count me in. I want to, I prefer legal means than, war. So let us test it out. Take the federal government to court. I have with my organization, Igbo initiative, once taken the federal government to court on the Python Dance 1 and the Python Dance 3. Okay, so the Python Dance 3, the case is still at the Federal High Court. However, the Python Dance 3 has happened. When the youths of Aba were killed in 2016, my organization as well, we took the federal government to the international court as well. Again, but you see, these are things. Sometimes these are things we can do, and because we can't just fold our arms and watch these things happen. There must be a limit to, rascality of the government. The government at some point has to do some things to, get the people. Because what we do have now, if we have a serious thinking government, this is the time to get your citizens, mobilize your citizens, let them fight this enemy. This is like cancer, but when the government comes with a silly and stupid idea that they have to take your license or your rights of owning guns or the license that I've already granted to you to own guns, shotgun for that matter, not automatic weapons. When they do that, you begin to question the whole intent of governance. Honestly, when they do that, that's what I feel. I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel it's absurd. Duncan Mighty once more says the only way out is Biafra, and the occupied free occupied Biafra said, let the court determine the standard of governance. Well, see, I think I might disagree there. The court does not need to decide on the standard of governance. You and I have to decide. How do we do that? By constructively engaging the government. I'll give you an example. In my states of Anambra, for instance, there was a time the school in my community was, like a war zone. What did I do? I had the school fixed. It ran into millions, but I had it done. And once that was done, I got if you Google that, it's everywhere. If you go to my Twitter account is actually at Mazezoke, AA, MAAZIEZEOKE. If you go to my Twitter handle, follow me, it's pinned to my wall. And I titled it, When Government Fails Us, You and I Can Bridge the Gap. Okay, so we can always bridge the gap. I don't believe that the court will tell us how we should be governed. It's only you and I, by speaking out, by engaging. If your senator is actually, if your senator is not doing the right thing, the court wouldn't do it. It's you. Either you call him out. If he doesn't listen to you, wait for him. The next election, knock him off. Until the politicians begin to understand that the reason why we did not return them, is because we believe that they've messed us up. Until we begin to do that, we wouldn't have anywhere to go. Okay, so we're not digressing, guys. We're still on the topic, but again, I think at this moment, at this hour, I will want to wrap up this, and I will give us about 5 minutes to have general discussions. Okay, general discussions. I will give you time to ask any questions that you have. If not really personal questions as such, but general questions that borders on governance, and I will be happy to tell you my view about that. And let me go back to the comment section again. We have let the court decide. I've answered that. It passed 1 a.m. here, and I just came home to watch the program. Michael Chinedu. Oh, Michael, 1 a.m. Oh, I think you are in the Asian countries. Oh, sorry about that. We might have to consider you guys to see how we can push it back a little bit. And DK, the truth of the matter, that's Charles DK. The current government has a superstitious plan against a particular tribe. It's really shame that they're carrying the plan out. Well, I do not blame anyone for thinking like that, because the things happening now beats my imagination as well. Everyone say let us protest with the law, but at times when we come out, it's clear we have nothing within the law to ensure the rights of Nigeria. No. Free Occupy Biafra, maybe not entirely so, but I don't want to get much into that. Or the government is too lawless to respect the rule of law. Well, you see, the thing about law is, even when the government disrespects, even when the government disrespects the law, but for the fact that there is a court pronouncement, that particular government might want to disrespect it, but eventually it has become the law. It's been interpreted, so it will hold, and it cannot, it can just be discarded in that way. Okay, we are Biafrans. Mazes, okay, please, where do you come from in Anambra State? Okay, so it's a personal question. I am from Aguata in Anambra State. Bodelawao, a race that value no Western education but only Islamic education, that define the agenda of the Herdsmen. I mean, I can't put it better than you. You've put it the way it is. It's okay, you are ADF, aren't you? Christopher Nadede. Not ADF, but it's honestly, I hate to say, all of us are working towards the same thing, towards the emancipation of our people, and branding that we have to wake up, in a more civil and civilized way. We have the same objectives with ADF. If you Google Igbo Ekunie initiative, you read more about us, or you can basically join the group, which is www.igboekunie.org. Okay, it's a social cultural group registered in Nigeria and operates worldwide. Incidentally, I am the founding president. Okay. This is a religious agenda. Okay. And that's from Bodelawa. Bodelawa, you're on fire today. And Chinedu Michael, federal government has motive intention in withdrawing license gone in south, but refuse to replicate the order in the northern part. I think what we have to do at this stage is that everyone would condemn what is about to happen. So the implementation hasn't happened, so we don't know where they are taking the guns away from. Mazezok, I don't know the type of jazz these Fulanis are using on. I'm out in Luma. He calls it jazz. No, Hamilton Luma, I don't think it's jazz, but I think they have a soft spot within the current government. That's the way I would put it, okay? Because honestly, I met one pastor in Equa Church in Washington, D.C. He's a Fulani man, a very lovely man indeed. He's a pastor. And you sit down and you speak to such people, your perception about the Fulanis begin to change. So you see, it's not entirely about a people or a race. You have the good, the bad, and the ugly. The problem, however, I see here is that we have a president who is in control, and he is so insensitive. He thinks anytime you speak truth to him, saying these things are happening, he thinks you want to attack him or you want to attack his race. Is the protection is alarmingly going to hurt at the long run, because what is building up now is really not good, because it's going to affect the whole Fulanis. Eventually, Fulani in Nigeria, if care is not taken, is going to be an endangered species. But this can be stopped by punishing the bandits, the criminals amongst them. When you read sometimes without prejudice, you can see that equally the Fulanis, even the herdsmen, they suffer a lot because criminals rustle their cows. Now, don't we? And that's where, we appear not to follow proper solution. The solution is simple. You can microchip these cows, right? With GPS, it costs peanuts to microchip the cows. Now, let these cows be in a ranch where you can have maybe 6 segments or maybe let's say 7 segments that can house probably 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 cows. These segments will be, the grasses will be growing. These grasses are fed, well fed, okay? The grasses will be growing. If they eat portion 1 today, Tuesday, they are moved to portion 2. Wednesday, they are moved to portion 3. Each of these portions have irrigations, watering the grasses, giving them water to drink. By so doing, we can actually extract from those cows, because today we are killing just for protein, which is red meat. We do not get anything like milk, like cheese, like yogurts. We don't get none of those. So we're actually missing from the from the chain of things we could get from cow, and we lose humans. Again, Nigerian cows are the most expensive in the world because they have the blood of humans. Before a cow grows to a point, by grazing, they've basically taken so much life, making it the most expensive red meat in the world. So we can solve this problem by actually going into ranches, providing protection to these ranches. Because if we have a ranch, then we can deploy military men to guard the ranches, because the ranches will have perimeter fences. So with CCTV, if you come in to go and rustle these cows, you'll be shot at sight. Okay, so by so doing, you protect the genuine headers, with genuine herdsmen that want to do business. Today, the herdsmen do not pay tax. I hope we all know that. They destroy the farms, they take everything, yet they don't contribute nothing to the economy aside expensive red meat. But once we move them into ranches, we could actually tax them. They will begin to pay tax. They will add value, and they will be proud that they are paying tax. Today, they just move from Sokoto, from Castina, from whatever to Okigwe to Port Harcourt, and they sell these cows. They take the money, no tax paid, because we don't even know how many cows they have. But when we begin to use technology to track this cow, that even when these cows are taken, they're going to be tracked down the way you track when armed robbers take your car, the way you track your car. Even in Europe, once I lived between Belgium and the Netherlands, you basically cycle, you see cows with all chipped in. So no one can just come in and take them, because they can see them as they move. Okay, so that's it. We can use technology to solve this problem. So again, Duncan Mighty, bros, work with IPOP, please. Bodelawa also, with the years spent acquired BSc, PhD, learned trade, etc. One group will cross not to kill you. Man, it is scary. Brodela, wow, you're on fire today. It is scary. Your thought process is actually what we need. You know, aggregation of faith is what is going to get Nigeria out of this mess. Because the way everyone is dumb is worrying. Well, I think people are not thinking. Nigerians, you know, I walk the street in Lagos here. Anywhere you go, people just basically, everyone is carrying out their business. No one cares because we think as long as we're able to do our business, we're not looking at the bigger picture that the, you know, the existence of Nigeria is somehow being threatened. A Yoruba general today, I can't remember, Ola, whatever, said today in Daily Trust that the corporate existence of Nigeria is under threat by these things happening. And when such men who don't speak easily begin to speak, please, the federal government should listen to them. These people are not speaking up out of hatred. These people are speaking up as a result of their concern. So be that as may, even if you're IPOP, even if you're Niger Delta militant, even if you're OPC, Odudua, Arewa youth, whatever you are watching me, what the federal government ought to do now, and rapidly so, maybe after swearing in 3 days' time, rapidly so, is to control the situation. And how would they control it? Get every Nigerian, every group in a round table. We must discuss how we move forward. If you want to put it, coin it with your next level, then we must discuss how we move forward. The way Nigeria is today, we cannot make any progress. Nigeria, sadly, in the last 4 years, has been more divided than ever. Nigeria is now more divided than ever. And this cannot continue. This cannot continue. So, Christopher Nedede, you are right. Mazi, what do you have to say about what Pastor Adela just said about the Igbo Biafran a few days ago? Please remind me of what he said. I do not know. I specifically don't want to listen to pastors. Sorry, I don't. That's a personal, because they cause more problem than they resolve. So if you want me to have an opinion, or maybe on another video I can, and I can Google his name or watch the video, you can send me the video. I can watch that later and talk, I can talk about that. But for pastors, I think more than 90% of them are con men and looking for your pockets. So I don't necessarily engage them, and I don't want to talk about them. Okay. So Ruben, ein schönes Lied bei dir, Zinak. He says, must everyone join Biafra before someone makes a good statement? Ruben, I know you speak German because I can see that. And I will reply you in German. And I will say, du hast das wirklich sehr schön geschrieben. Wir alle müssen nicht IPOP-Mitglied sein, bevor wir etwas überhaupt erreichen. Das Einzige, was wir alle als Menschen tun müssen, ist, wir alle müssen bereit sein, die Wahrheit zu unserer Regierung zu sagen. Alles laufen nicht gut, aber wir alle halten alle unsere Schnauze. Wir sagen nicht die Wahrheit. Wir müssen endlich die Wahrheit sagen. Es ist mir egal, ob man Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Biafra, IPOP ist. Es ist unglaublich. Das macht nicht. Wir sind alle Menschen, weiß oder schwarz. Okay, guys, sorry. I just want to So Ruben, because he's Igbo, not a Nigerian. You guys, please, I would beg us one thing. The reason I would ban anyone, what we come here to do is to have a conversation without insulting one another. Okay? I don't want to get to the point I will start banning people. Please. Let us not make this conversation about Igbo, Yoruba, IPOB, Oduduwa, or whatever. Please. We are, I said it before at the beginning, we are all Nigerians by Lord Lugard. By Lord Lugard's girlfriend, we are all Nigerians. It wasn't our design. If you ask some of us, probably would want to be something else. But for now, we found ourselves as Nigerians. There are pros and there are cons of being a Nigerian. But the disadvantages appear to outweigh the benefits of being a Nigerian. Okay? So that might be a video for another day. But today, what I'm saying is, please let us not turn the conversation, or else I'll remove whoever is starting that now. Let us not turn the conversation into it's Biafra or nothing, or this, or, you know, let's be matured here and do not call anybody name. Please, I beg us. I believe all my listeners, you know, if not for anything, the channel is about respecting one another and communicating with each other in a more civilized and in a civil manner. Okay, so let me go back to the comments. Duncan Mighty, ich bin auch in Hamburg. Oh, man. Enuma says, Wahrheit tut immer weh. Wow, you guys are rocking it. I don't want the Nigerian guys to... I know the Germans, come on, stop it. You stop speaking German. One says, you are effing scared to discuss or show you read my comment. Sorry, who? Chris, please stop using the F word. I read your comment and I've read out your comments, Chris, so I don't know why you're getting pissed off. You said Ruben because he's Igbo, not Nigerian. So I don't know which comment you're referring to that will make you use such word. Please, I'll hide this word where you are used F word. And this is a warning. Please do not use that again. I beg you. Now, word breaking is, okay, this is the Facebook Pastor Adelaja. Okay, I promise you, I would, what's it called? World breaking news. Please send me, we can take this conversation offline. I'll give you my email address. My email address, I don't know if this is a good idea to do online before I start getting spam. My email address, and this is for you, is sok@me.com. That's my email address is this, okay? So send me, we can take this conversation offline, or I can watch the video and I tell you what I think in the next live stream. I've gone past the time, but the conversation is getting interesting. That you know, some people are requesting that we, you know, kind of get to continue this, okay? And Ruben again says, stimmt und danke schön, Bruder, für dein Verständnis. Ich bin Igbo auch. So I will translate some of these things. What Ruben just said is that he agrees with me, and that he's also Igbo, okay? So this one says, bros, keep it up. Telling our Igbo people is not about insulting other tribes. We have to use our head. Exactly. And that's one thing. That's for Ryan Jansen. That's the thing I actually find sometimes that makes it a little bit difficult to have a serious conversation. We can always have a conversation without insulting one another. You know, if you say something, I I'll wait. I reply. I tell you, okay, this is what you said. To show that I am not an idiot, I will come up with a better and a superior argument. But the moment you go insult, you lose the conversation. It's no longer a conversation. It makes your opponent to shrink and moves away. Like I just told my brother, I want him, to, okay, look at what he says again. He says, ban me, damn saboteur. Now I confirm who you are. No more commenting. I am out. Bye. Christopher, I know you are still here. I do not see anything that has transpired today that would warrant the comment. Please, I beg you, the strength. There is strength in number, and I wouldn't want you to go, and I wouldn't ban you. But please, I would want to beg you to speak to every single person here respectfully, including myself. I reckon at least I know one or two people here who are pensioners. I know some of you guys here who are over 50, 60 or thereabouts. And I don't care even if you're 15, but you're human, that every one of us should be spoken in a wonderful, in a respectable manner, because respect begets respect. Now, what's it called again? Christopher, let me address you. We cannot be accusing the Nigerian government of not respecting us. Yet, amongst ourselves, those things we accuse the government of, we do them. Where is the difference? We have to obey, respect one another, and follow processes. Please, think about it. I do not think, Christopher, that you are more Igbo than myself, or that you've done anything in any way, shape, or form that confirms my Igbo-ness. I am unapologetic Igbo. I never chose to be Igbo. God, in his infinite mercy, put me within the confine and the space called the Igbo nation. I am proud. Now, at the bigger picture of it, the Igbo nation, as currently constituted today, found itself within the Nigerian context. Therefore, I have no apology to tell you that I'm Igbo. If you don't like it, sorry. And I have no apology to say that Igbo is within the Nigerian space. What I want us, and I have said that without number, that the nation called Nigeria is not working. And if you disagree with that and tell me until I join IPOB before I prove my Igbo-ness, then damn you and get out. I am Igbo, non-apologetic Igbo in any way, shape, or form. That's who I am. I have no apology whatsoever. I prefer that we restructure Nigeria. I state that any day, any time. I prefer that we restructure Nigeria. And if we cannot restructure Nigeria, if it is to disintegrate Nigeria, if it comes to the point where we need to divide, please, what I stand for is that we do it peacefully without shedding of blood. We've lost over 3 million people. Like my greatest mentor, Chief Odumogu Emeka Ojukwu, may his soul rest in peace, will say, if after the war we learned nothing, then we are fools. If after the war we learned nothing, then we are fools. We have to learn from the war that war is not the answer. Okay? But no group has the monopoly of insult. No group has the monopoly of violence, as some of our brothers up north has been doing. People at some point, you push them to the wall, they will have to fight you back. And that's the essence of this video. The federal government is basically trying to take arms from those that acquired them legally, registered, paid money for licenses. But they want to leave same for those that do not pay no tax. Okay? So, Christopher, again, I hope you would, a Biafran can never be a Nigerian apologist. Well, if until you define what an apologist is, I've said it to you, like it or not, I don't know where you are. If you live outside Nigeria, even when you are a Biafran, sadly, you're using Nigerian passports. I don't want us to go this lane, you know, this is more or less a distraction, okay? A distraction is, in a sense, that no matter what, okay, if we restructure Nigeria to regional governance, the people of the Southeast can decide to call their territory whatever they want, be it Biafra, be it any other name, you know, as long as we follow the process of referendum of name to decide a way of governing ourselves, we can do that. But one question that we have to ask ourselves tonight is, we have governors that we've elected. We have councillors that we've elected. We have men and women that we have elected. Sometimes, let us look inward. We have local government chairmen, the people that ought to drive development at the local level. They don't even live in those localities. Well, we elect them and we ignore them. Many of us don't even know who our elected local government chairmen are. So these are where we would start. In as much as I agree, there are things we need to extract and demand from the federal government. But at the same time, the ones we can do, how come we are the same people that will castigate the federal government and go back and elect thieves, cucumbers, carrots, idiots as our representatives? What do you want them to do? We have men of impeccable character that will come out to contest for offices, but you and I will be the same people that will not vote them. And yet we'll come back to complain. I don't want to digress, come back to the point. Okay, so John Okoye, do not engage with this guy. It was a waste of time. He's part of those who think they have all the answers. You won't even sit at home. Christopher, you're really a character. Okay, Christopher, I tell you, I am here live in Anambra State on the 29th. On the 29th, let me tell you, since 2002, when you probably haven't known anything about Biafra, since 2002, every 29th, I sit at home. I go nowhere, if that might interest you. You know why I do that? I want to honor my forebearers, those that gave their yesterday for my today. I want to honor those that saw injustice happening and stood up and say, I want to be counted. We lost over 3 million people. If Nigeria was a nation, what I expect Nigeria to do, like every other nation does, is to have a day of mourning. Nigeria shall declare this date a date of mourning for those lost on both sides, if not for anything, for their memories. Because we do not honor them, they must have died in vain. Honestly, you have the Germans, I know some of you here are Germans, you understand what I mean. The Germans have what they call the Tag der Einheit, the day of unification after they fought each other. What does Nigeria have? And again, I made a post on Facebook the other day and I asked myself, You want to sit at home. I do that as an individual. But what stops the Southeast as a region? The Yorubas did it for Abiola, one man, yet the Southeast region cannot dedicate 29th to sit at home to honor their men, their women, their children, their fathers, their forebearers that died to give them life. They can't do that. And you want to blame the federal government. You blame federal government for the things you could not even do for yourself. Christopher, enough. Please, enough. Let's get back to it. Igbos are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs want larger population. Michael Chinedu, you're clued on, you understand it. There are things we don't need to spell out, but I think you understand it. We have the large environment to deal with. One other thing, my suggestion to the federal government, which I put in my memo to the what's it called? The restructuring committee was, like Tunde Bakari argued, Pastor Tunde Bakari argued, to remove state of origin and replace it with state of residence. What that means is, if you live in a place after 5 years and you pay tax, you have all your documents and papers the way it's done in every civilized society. You can be voted for. You can veer to, you should have all the rights of indigents. However, but because of this indigenship question, Nigeria is not yet ready. Sometimes it actually breaks my heart that Nigeria it's going backwards. Okay. Enuma, Mazes, okay, you said 29 or 30th. What? Ralph Uchenna, my brother, Biafra or nothing. God, good, great guy. I may fly to Atlanta to see my leader. I have lived in US since 45 years. I think you're cool. You've tried. You say, Christopher, I think I've engaged you before and I'm willing to engage you. I think, civility unlocks doors, okay? You've lived in the US for 25 years, 42 years. Christopher, I don't know where you live, but myself, I will be in the Washington area on the week between the 14th and 18th of June. So if you live within the Washington area, Christopher, I like making friends. I would love to see you, and we can catch up. We can hang out, maybe visit the White House and have some drink. Though I don't like American beers, but maybe I can try Budweiser. Okay, so maybe we can sort these things out and have more in-depth conversation when we meet. I'm happy you live in the US, and probably that. And again, you've lived in the US for 42 years. That I take it to be you're no longer a young chap. Okay, so we all do our best, yourself included, in trying to get us to where we ought to be. Okay. What's that? Yaktech in Limited. We should fight for unity as commended by our faith instead of dividing the nation. Well, dividing the nation, Yaktech, is not what basically, is not what anybody wants. Okay. But when it comes to something like that, you cannot help but have to understand that when you make peace inevitable, then, if you make peace impossible, the other becomes inevitable, okay? So, now I understand what you guys are on about. Hamilton, sorry, okay, I misspoke, not 29th of May. Oh, Sorry, I now understand. Yes, I meant 30th of May, okay? 30th of May. Sorry, I got that mixed up with swearing in day, what's it called, the handover day. So what I meant was the 30th of May. 30th of May, on a personal note, since 2002, I have been observing 30th of May at sit at home. I don't go to work. You know, the kids can go to school, but me, a personal decision, and I would want that to happen, you know, in first start with the Southeast to show that we can do it. We love ourselves. We don't need the federal government to do that. If the Southeast can make 30th of May a national, you know, a regional day to remember their forebearers, their parents that lost their life in a senseless war. The war was senseless. It was a needless war. However, it was a war of survival. Someone invaded your house. You know, the war, when we talk about 1967 to 1970, it was a war imposed on a people. Not that the people want to fight. It was a war imposed on them. When the killing started happening and they went to a place called the Biafran region, the eastern region, governed by Odumegwu Ojukwu, and the federal government invaded. Again, it's like when someone with arm invades your house, what do? You fight back, okay? So let's get these things right. And Ruben says, please never give chance to those that will start insulting you because of you have identified yourself as Igbo. Just stand firm. Oh, well, I mean, it's not a case, okay? So don't even bother yourself about that. I am Igbo through and through. Who doesn't like it? Look for the next transformer and do the needful. I don't care. So, and again, it's just like someone saying I'm German. I'm Igbo. I didn't choose to be Igbo anyway. So I am who I am, and that's it. However, I am an Igbo person and who found himself in the space called Nigeria. Duncan Mighty say hello. Welche Stadt in Deutschland hast du gewohnt und wie lange? Ah, okay, Duncan Mighty. Duncan Mighty. Sorry, guys, I need to reply him in German again. I lived in Germany between 2001 and 2007. I basically studied there. I went to Albrecht University Kiel. Studied politics and moved to Bremen, the city of Bremen, and studied international politics and economics. Okay, so I basically studied in Germany. So I lived in Kiel, which is Schleswig-Holstein, and I lived in Bremen. Yes, so that's it. Okay, guys, we have to wrap it up, and I thank every one of you who've joined me in this conversation. Wow, I was looking at an hour. Now we are an hour 48 minutes. So it was never intended that we have conflict, but again, conflict is inevitable in anywhere people gather. So I do not see this as conflicts, but as, you know, things where people have diverse opinion. We need to get this opinion sorted out. Hope to see you guys next week. And before now, if there is any topic you want us to discuss, once this video comes up, please go in there, make your comment, and suggest topics you want us to discuss. So for next week, I do not want to fix a particular topic for now. It is the happenings in that week that will decide. So if I do not get enough suggestion, I would have to come up with a topic. Like I've done last week, the topic we discussed last week was the Enugu International Airport and the impending downgrade of the airport. In this video, I'll put a description, or if you go to my channel, you see actually after that, you know, within the week, I went to Enugu and to look at the airport. Some people have been telling me that the report was good, and some said that what they saw from my video is heartbreaking. And I said to them as well, it was equally heartbreaking for me because, going into Enugu airport that started the same time, Port Harcourt, Kanu, Kaduna, and Abuja, okay? Yet all these airports are completed. Only the southeast one is not completed. Now, it will be very hard to tell people that there is nothing sinister about why that airport is the only one not yet completed. And rather than fix it and have these things done, you want to downgrade it. I mean, that's another absurdity. Things don't happen that way, okay? So rather than fix it, it's just like if your house is leaking, rather than fix it, you say, oh, I just need to, burn the house down. You don't do that. Abuja was bad. Abuja was, when Abuja was being fixed, Kaduna was done first, flight diverted to Abuja, and, was never downgraded. And once that was done, flights went bad. The same way I would want us to, if Enugu is not fit for purpose, I agree. Let us close it down and do the repairs. Safety matters. But before you close it down, maybe repair and upgrade, do whatever you have to do in Owerri or Asaba. Okay, either way, the proximity doesn't matter. So if you do that, the proximity is actually close so that you can fix the same way. We have a template, the same way you've done with Kaduna and Abuja. Do the same thing. What is good for the, what is good for the goose is also good for the ganja. As Zebediah would say, what is good for the goat is equally good for the sheep. So if you do Abuja that way, so why don't you do Enugu? So why would anyone even think of downgrade? Because downgrade is the word that is one that hurts me. You know what downgrade means? Many of you don't even know what that means. If you downgrade the Enugu airport, that means Ethiopian airline, ET, that lands in Enugu will cease to operate. Some people I know have bought their Christmas ticket to land from Enugu. To land in Enugu. So if that happens, what's going to happen? So suddenly people will start losing their ticket. I have families coming in from Germany. I have families coming in from Atlanta, from Washington, Dallas to Enugu. And you're talking about downgrading it. And you read something like this, you think, Jesus Christ, why do we have men like this in office? Yet the same person talking that nonsense, arrant nonsense, is the same man that couldn't even deliver Air Nigeria or Air Nigeria. Yeah, he went to London in Farnborough and launched an airline that started on PowerPoint and ended in PowerPoint. Failure. Yet this government that's one of those things that they promised to do in their first 2 years, to give Nigerians a national carrier. You can't fix. Listen, honestly, I am so emotional about what we refer to as marginalization within this, because I see them and I engage these things in my own little way. And it hurts. It hurts to see that a region doesn't have any seaport, yet the Apapa seaport, the roads are so bad and everywhere is congested. You cannot even move and decongest it by preparing Akwa Ibom Deep Seaport, Warri, and the two in Port Harcourt, or even dredge the one at Onitsha. At least not big ships, at least when they transload. It's easier to transload to a smaller vessel and get those containers close to Onitsha and get them off, as opposed using, it might take 2 days from Lagos to Onitsha, which is better than using a container. And the whole thing, there is no route to go on. Anyway, guys, there is always a lot to talk about. There is always a lot to talk about. There is a lot of injustice happening in Nigeria, south, east, north, west. A lot of injustice. And the only way you can have an equitable society is where justice is done. And justice is not only seen to be done, but when justice is not only done, but when justice, the process of delivering that justice is seen to be done. Okay, I'll read the last comments, then we'll call it off day for today. I love Biafra with all my heart, but we need to work with very hard to try have a secret. We will win, my beloved family. Again, for those who understand what you just wrote, I believe they understand what you just wrote. Okay, so we don't need to be putting everything out there. And when people, and I think sometimes that's what actually breaks my heart, because some of the young ones that say that type this Biafra or nothing is, they don't actually understand that sometimes you don't need to say everything in the public. Okay, so that is one thing. It is not everything you think you say in the public, and it's only when you begin to work respecting one another, but not saying everything. You don't show. This is a game. It's a strategic game. You don't just push yourself out there and hurt yourself. There are things you reserve. You have a strategy, because when you put everything out there, you're fighting an intelligent enemy. You've sold all the information to the enemy, and once you do that, the enemy has the upper hand. Okay, my brother, it's never the will of God for nations to divide against itself. Please, brother, we are earnestly praying for you to change your mind, son. Hope I'm speaking your enough. I don't know. You don't need to pray for me to change my mind. My mind is that the nation is not working and we must have to fix it. I don't know what else you're talking about. We have to. Okay. And we have to fix it starting from home. I don't want us to go deeper than that, because today, even if you want to Biafra, we can declare Biafra today. We can make another video of that and no one will stop you. But for you to do that, you need to get political. Now, IPOB was marching the street. Actually, let me say this. IPOB was marching the street. Some of us had ideas. What can you do? Get everyone registered. You have the numbers to take out any government in the Southeast. But one thing you must be ready to do is you must be ready when you take over governments. You must be ready to provide those things and do things differently than the current thieves are doing. But when you don't want to engage in the process of taking over this government, because you can take over the government, these things are mere semantics. You can take over the government and say, now, this governors forum of 5 eastern states are being controlled by this group called the Biafrans. They have decided that this territory will be called this name. Your senators are those you've elected to go to Abuja and demand a date for your referendum. By the Nigerian constitution under which you still operate, it's only when you have given them the mandate to demand for that will they go to Abuja to demand. But someone cannot win an election without the mandate to demand such, and you expect him to go to Abuja to demand such. It doesn't happen. I mean, sometimes let us bring logic to these things, honestly. God bless Biafra, lovers of freedom worldwide. Division is the only solution for better Africa. Okay, so guys, because we are not one Biafra, the only way out. Okay, guys, we will be rounding it up. So if you have further more questions, we have, okay, let's make it 2 hours. Just 1 minute to ask your last question. The election are a charade. Votes don't count. No, not when you vote and you insist. Ask yourself, why is it that every single person elected in the House of Assembly and in the Senate, the vote counted? We could have done the same thing by staying put in the polling booth. I voted, and people were there calling people out, come and vote. But the vote didn't get enough. Imagine where I leave that for us. Okay. So again, Obi Onyekachi, for now, the only solution is restructuring. I agree. We can restructure to be like Switzerland. It's an argument I have made and I've made and I've made. Emeka Anyoko has made it. Professor Soludo has made it. Many people who understand what governance is. I actually want Nigeria to be a confederation. An extreme form of true federalism, a confederation. I want the Ariwa to be an Ariwa republic, to deal with their internal affairs. They have their state police, control their place. It is insanity to have someone from Anambra go to Zamfara and police, to have somebody from Kaduna to come to Anambra and be commissioner of police, to have somebody from Sokoto to go to Bayelsa and be commissioner of police. How can you police that place? You don't speak the local language, you know nothing about that, but crime will reduce. Why do we have less crime in Anambra State? Because we have vigilantes. These are local people taking local charges in their local affairs. It's as simple as that. Yeah. So, my brother, you see, Nigeria have no option of write what I'm telling you tonight. Nigeria has no option than to restructure. If Nigeria does not restructure in the next 4 years, write it down. Kiss Nigeria goodbye. On that note, I will call it an end. Okay, so guys, everyone, have a wonderful evening. Subscribe to the channel, share the videos, and let's now move the conversation to the comment section. Remain blessed all. This is Mazes, okay? Bye for now.